Guys, to the next Talking Trucks live show. I'm Andre with the Fast Lane Truck, and we're coming to you once again from our remote studios. And with me, I have Nathan Adlin,
Hey guys, how you doing?
and of course, Mr. Truck.
Yeah, in the bunker.
So today's Talking Trucks show, is basically meant for us to kind of have a discussion about the future of trucks. There are a few questions we received at ask@tfltruck.com. And we're also obviously going to be doing all the conversation as well on the super chat room right here during this live show. And hopefully we'll get through most of the questions, if not all of them, right?
That sounds good.
So the question is the future of trucks electric, diesel, or what is it going to be? And this first question comes to us via email, and it's from Will Catalan. And Will writes, do you think that electric trucks will dominate gas trucks in any segment once they come out? For example, will electric trucks be superior in towing, range, off-road capability, acceleration, or reliability? Nathan.
Well, acceleration, absolutely. Right out of the bat, we've already seen several examples of regular EV vehicles out accelerating nearly anything they compete against. And part of the reason why is because all of that weight and all of that torque coming on immediately, maximum traction, maximum torque. I mean, they're rockets, but at the same time, there are a lot of detractors from that as well. So yeah, you'll get it in acceleration, but overall performance, other than that, I don't think you're going to see any dominance from EVs.
Yeah, and
Mr. Truck?
Yes. Well, we know it's going to be the hybrids first, just like it was in cars. And I think that's really going to be strong. And I think eventually it will be electric. I mean, you guys have seen the Jetsons cartoon, right? That's how it is. That's for the future. So, when you got anything that can develop 100% of it torque like electric motors do, it's amazing. This has been on, steamship. It's been on locomotives. It's been around for decades. So it's not like new technology. The biggest problem is the battery life. Once they figure that out, where you can charge them quickly and get, 700 miles of range, and you really got something to capture the market. So whoever wins that race is going to dominate. I mean, look at the numbers Tesla puts out on the Cybertruck. It's 14,000 pound towing on a half ton. They got some unbelievable numbers. And look at the clearance off-road. I mean, yeah, they're aiming for that future. That's why it looks like a spaceship. They can kind of see the future.
That's a good question you bring up, Mr. Truck. And Elon Musk actually tweeted about the Cybertruck earlier this week. And normally we wouldn't, kind of make big news out of it, except this time he did say, I will drive, or something like this. He said, I will drive a plaid Cybertruck. And what does that mean? Well, plaid in kind of Tesla speak means it's kind of like beyond ludicrous, right? So if you talk about Spaceballs, the movie, and the speed and how all the Teslas can accelerate, so he's basically saying potentially this truck, the upcoming Cybertruck, which they say will come out at the end of 2021, that's according to their website, that it will be very, very fast, probably sub 3 seconds 0 to 60. So to answer Will's question, yeah, definitely acceleration will be one area where electric trucks will dominate no matter what. But I'm not sure the other areas.
I have a really hard time accepting right now with the current technology that any electric truck can outdo the equivalent diesel truck when it comes to range and towing ability. We've proven several times that you cut down so much range when you hook up a trailer. And I know there are ways that we can improve that. There's ways where the trailer might be able to generate a little bit of extra power, or perhaps even help out with electric motors. That's something that people are working on. But all of these little cheats that you might be able to do, I don't see anybody coming anywhere near diesel truck capability in the near future. That's just my own personal take on that.
Yeah, because you can refill a diesel truck, within 5 minutes. right?
Yeah,
Or maybe,
exactly. You fill it up, you go, and you can go 500-600 miles even towing something. And I'm not against the idea of an electric truck, but the idea of an electric truck towing, meeting the range of a diesel truck, that's hard to swallow.
Well, that's
yeah,
true, but that's what the trailer's for. The trailer is full of batteries. That's how they do it. You're not going to have cargo, but you think about the locomotives, about the big diesel engines on these trains. They're a diesel generator, generate electricity, and that's what runs the wheels. And I watch them fuel up. They come in these giant tanks and they lift it up and they, kind of pour it in there. And they're fast at that. But I mean, yeah, that's the problem. If it takes an hour to fill up, it ain't going to work. You're going to get tired drinking coffee and eating donuts every time you fill up. But yeah, that's right. That's another problem. It's battery life and how long it takes to charge. And it's look at what we've done with going to the moon, all these other things. It's going to happen. But that's why the hybrids will be important. The hybrids will perform. They'll have more speed. They'll have more range. They'll have more power, just like they are in cars. The last hybrid I had was fast, little rabbit. But that's what they got to do. They know what they got to do to fix all these things, and it may be the entire future. We'll have generator plants on every block or something. But yeah, it's coming. But yeah, the hybrid will kind of get us used to the idea of electric engines and all that. So we'll see how it works in trucks.
Mr. Truck, we have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. There are a couple of questions in the chat room here coming in. So first of all, thank you guys for joining. As always, Garlic Bread is here, Tommy Gordon Jr., Brian Davis.
Dan's here too.
Dan, Fred Jeep says, Mr. Truck, love the sheepskin seat cover. Do you use the same seat cover when driving over the road?
I wish I had one that big, but I don't. I mean, I love the lambskin. It is soft. It is cuddly. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I don't, but I want one. I want one really bad. Send me one.
Okay. All right. Dan Atkinson says, what did I miss? Well, we're just talking about the future of trucks and kind of just answering questions that we received on email and also right here in the chat room. Nathan, did you say you saw another question?
No. I was just kind of to finish off the point that Mr. Truck brought up. Toyota and Ford have been working pretty hard on hybrid versions of their trucks, including the possibility of having a twin turbocharged V6 hybrid coming out in the near future. And that could be something very different. That could be a game changer because you are talking about a lot of torque. You are talking about maximum mileage and range. So the real question is if something like that could tow, that actually might bridge the gap between electric and what the current diesels are able to do. But that, once again, we don't know yet until we see the numbers.
Yeah, and like you said, the 2021 F-150 is supposed to have an electric hybrid. Absolutely. We did a video recently on TFL Truck talking about some of those numbers, and there was a information leak using the VIN number decoder. Once again, Ford and Toyota, for that matter, they haven't announced any specs on their trucks yet. So I know a lot of us want to know exactly what's going to happen. I know there's a question here in the chat room saying from Energy Power Reification, what is the 2021 Ram transmission going to be, and will Ram have it as an option for the 2500 finally? I think what Energy Power Reification is saying, we mentioned that Ram is shopping around for new transmission for their heavy duty trucks.
Yeah, 3 of them, right?
Yeah, this is unofficial still. They have the Ison right now, and they're shopping between potentially ZF for their diesels also, and Allison. So we don't have any official word on this yet. But Nathan, did you see this? And Mr. Truck, FCA design contest, they published a few images, like sketches, on their new trucks. Did you see that?
Yeah, this was really cool. This was a contest that they sent out specifically for high school kids, and we published it through tfltruck.com. And basically, they asked you guys quickly to send them sketches for future trucks, and they would then put it on, was it on, not Twitter, but on...
well, it's on their website too. It's like FCA design.
Yeah.
Instagram. That's right, Instagram. They put it on Instagram. And Ralph Giles and another designer actually selected their favorites.
Yeah, they had a contest, and I just got the notice last night, so I didn't get it up so anybody could make a drawing overnight. But yeah, the big thing, bulging fenders and big tires. That's what all of them have. I mean, I guess that's the Mancho look. But The cool thing, that one convertible one they had where you can put different box sides on it, like the Ram box and all that. You can rotate them out. Be like Mattel was involved there. But yeah, and the ramps for the ATVs, that was part of their deal. That they had a motorcycle being pulled up by a strap. So yeah, I mean that needs something, because if they come out with that Dakota again, it's got to look really cool. So I guess we'll find out how that works. But yeah, it's fun. Nothing else going on. Might as well start learning how to sketch and win some contests here.
Absolutely.
Well,
a lot of these sketches, by the way, that they published were really high quality. I mean, yeah, this is top-notch work that they were using to kind of inspire people as well, in doing all these things. Garlic Bread has a question in the chat room. Says, any news from Ford on when the new Bronco is going to come out? Because it was going to be unveiled in New York, right? Actually, earlier this week. It's hard to imagine, but no official news as far as I know.
No, Ford. Now, I did talk to somebody from Ford who specifically said a lot of things are being put on the back burner because of their production, and all of their emphasis is going into working to help out with what the current crisis is and what their production is. So everything that we know of is going to be set back a little bit. How much, we just don't know.
Well, you know what I heard? I heard those guys that are stalling to make the Frontier after another 10 years or so, they went over to Ford. Now they're working for Ford to see how long they can postpone all their new trucks. That's what I heard.
I hope you're joking, right?
Well, of course. Yeah. That's what it looks like it's happening. Let's see if we can delay this another 5 years. Yeah, we'll come out with it sometime in the next decade.
All right. Are you ready for some more questions?
Yeah, go for it.
I have a few here from our email address, ask@tfltruck.com. First one is from Seth Cole here. He says, Cliffhanger 2.0, do you think maybe later this year you could compare the Silverado Trail Boss, your project truck, and the Ford F-250 going up Cliffhanger 2.0?
I would love to. It's a question of whether or not Roman would have enough guts to allow us to do it.
So here's the thing about Cliffhanger 2.0, and it's been in the previous years, we've been using it for 3-4 years, right? It's one of the most difficult trails that we film at. Not the most difficult trails in the mountain, but where we can film. And it changes every year. Basically what happens, actually every time you drive on it, it changes because the
rocks move and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Mr. Truck was there in his Honda side-by-side one year.
Yeah, we went to the top, and I think we kind of compared that to what was a Jeep and another truck, Rebel and a Jeep, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the story is we're working on the F-250 truck. It's actually soon will be shipped to California to work on its having a suspension lift put on. So the Ford is a little bit, it's going to be out of commission for the next month or so. Actually doing some traveling and hopefully doing the suspension work. The Trail Boss we might try, but we will have to wait and see if the conditions don't allow it. You know, we won't be able to do it. But obviously, we have other trails like the Ironclads and many other trails that we all use.
Have you taken a Gladiator up it? Because that should do real well.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could in theory. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of erosion that happens between winter and spring, the end of springtime. And that moves everything that's on the trail. And we just don't know what the condition is yet. And it's not quite drivable. So there's still snow on it. And the last time we tried to drive with snow on it, it was a disaster. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we can see if we even can use it.
It's amazing. Snow does wonders for the difficulty level. You know, you would think, even Roman was actually doing a Trail Boss versus Titan video recently. And the Trail Boss did it with no snow on this particular obstacle. 2 weeks earlier, the Trail Boss couldn't do it on the same obstacle. And the snow was there the prior 2 weeks. So snow changes everything for sure. Speaking of Gladiators though, there's a question from Ron Biglin. And Ron is asking, what is going on with the Gladiator diesel? We heard about this months or years ago. He has a 7,000-pound Airstream trailer, and he's really looking forward for this Gladiator diesel. When is it coming?
Well, that's about the maximum weight capacity of the Gladiator, isn't it? Or is the diesel going to be higher?
We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even if it's higher, I wouldn't tow 7,000 pounds with that frame. I'd rather go for a full size truck or even a, a 1-ton truck. I mean, that's a lot of weight for a small truck.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah, the Ranger's rated at 75. All your half tons get up there 10 to 13,000. But yeah, that's yeah, you never know. And it's not as wide either. It's nicer to have a wider truck. But we did tow that 7,000 pound horse trailer in one of our contests a couple months ago, and it did surprisingly well.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it's training. You know it's working hard, right?
Well,
It's
yeah, that's how you test them. You just go them to the max, man. That's what it is. It's super
yeah,
high
but
kind of
but
stuff.
but would you want to drive like that every day with a trailer?
Well, I do. I guess maybe I should not do that anymore. But yeah.
So I tried. So we have a new podcast. Some of you guys already know this really well. We have published a podcast on everywhere you can get a podcast. iTunes and Apple and Google and Spotify, etc. And this week's show, we actually had the chief engineer of the Gladiator and Wrangler on the show. And I did ask a question about diesel. And the quote from the engineer was, it's coming this year or later this year. He said the EPA numbers are not in yet, specifications are not really available yet. So we don't have a lot of information, but at least they're still working on it. So that's good.
there's a really good question here on the chat from Dan Atkinson about what is our opinion about locking manual locking front hubs. Do you see that, Andre?
Yeah, on the front axle specifically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ford's had that last one to have it, and now you can't even do the floor shifter on the Fords anymore, but you can still do the electric one. But it's got it's got a manual override, so if something fails, you can go out there and still twist the hubs.
Yeah, so my first take on the front locker, it's helpful, especially like some of the obstacles we talked about, like cliffhanger, a lot of loose rock, razor rocks on the Ironclads trail. But it's not a must, in my opinion. I remember a couple years ago, I went to an off-road driving school. This was on the East Coast, and they were teaching people about how to drive with 2 feet, basically kind of putting your foot all the way on the brake, setting an RPM with gas, with the gas pedal at some low number, like 1200 or 1500 RPM, and like letting go of the brake and modulating your speed with the brake actually. And what that does is actually it stops the loose wheel from spinning and kind of transferring some power over. So you don't really have to have lockers, but it's nice to have in a pinch.
Well, you guys had that trimmer for quite a while doing off-road stuff, and that's got a Dana limited slip. Did you notice how did it do off-road? Did it engage quickly to lock them both up, or what did it do?
We didn't get a chance to really put it to the test until actually I got to Arizona, that event that actually Ford had. And Steven, our buddy Steven at TFL Off-Road, he beat the tremor, the heck out of it. And he tested both the diesel and the gas for tremor trucks.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the G80 in the back of a GM truck because it does spin a little and then go, but it doesn't seem like it spins quite as much before it engages.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's what they need to do. If it doesn't engage quickly, it doesn't really do anything for you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But it seemed like it engaged quicker, but there was still some spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is another comment here in the chat room from Alex Mobile who says, in Germany, the government subsidizes the diesel in order to keep it more competitive. So yeah, the question we're discussing, is the future going to be electric, diesel, or gas, or a combination? It depends on the region, right? It depends on the country and the continent you live at. And of course, we're focused here because we're in the United States, North America. So that's kind of the way we're thinking right now.
Entschuldigung, wie bitte?
Say what? Are you cussing online? What did you say?
Only to you, Mr. Truck. And another thing is that right now, there's been some changes you guys might want to check out with cafe numbers and with the new SAFE program. It's called SAFE, right, Andre?
Yeah, that's right.
And that will be making some changes, both positive and negative, depending on your point of view, for certain types of vehicles and engines in terms of output, in terms of mileage, in terms of having to build more vehicles that are electric. So that actually may favor some people who like diesels and half-ton trucks.
And I think electric truck development is delayed for sure now.
Without a
right?
doubt.
And not just because we had a lockdown, but because the lockdown also prevented some of the factories from being finished. And like Rivian announced, they're going to be delayed until 2021. I think some other companies also announced similar delays. But not just that, there's also the cheap fuel right now. So the diesel and gasoline are actually quite inexpensive right now. Well, partly because people are not driving much, but if if diesel is $2 a gallon, maybe I don't have an incentive to buy that hybrid truck or that big electric truck. So it's going to be interesting.
Instead of collecting toilet paper, we should be getting big tankfuls of fuel, line them up there and start getting 100,000 gallons of fuel and get ready for when the price jumps up, man. That's what we should do.
Mr. Truck,
We need to hoard fuel. Hoard some
Where
fuel.
we could store a bunch of gas tanks.
Oh yeah, I know a place. We could probably get 100,000 gallons out here in the backyard.
There you
Just
go.
don't get them close to the shooting range.
Perfect.
Mr. Truck, can I borrow a roll of toilet paper?
No. Well, wait a minute. I've got partial one here. You can have this one. I got a little bit left of that. You get that one.
You're teasing. You're teasing me, please. No. Here's a question in the chat room from a Big Frogs 4x4. Have you ever looked into taking a Black Series camping trailer on an off-road trip? And Nathan, remember we saw some of those Black Series trailers at an Overland show.
Is that what the one at the Ford event was? That black one with the red bottom? Was that one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a really beefy suspension. We talked about it. Actually, we've talked to them a little bit. It would be nice. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and get through this whole thing. But once that happens, it would be great even if we can't get it, we might be able to get something up to Stephen in Canada. And that would be great. We haven't had the opportunity to do any real off-roading with a trailer since we did Motor Mountain USA, like 5 years ago now, Andre?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a small little dinky 1,100-pound trailer that we were off-roading. So it would be something nice to try.
Mm-hmm.
And those trailers, the Black Series trailers, those suspension systems on those trailers are just amazing.
Yeah, it's 4-wheel independent suspension. It was weird and weird tongue. Had universal joint like the Australians use. Yeah, it was awesome. I think it was from Australia.
I think the design is from Australia, but I think some of the construct, the body components and whatnot were Chinese. So not 100% sure about all that.
And assembled in Los Angeles area, if I remember.
Yeah, 3 countries are involved. This is this united country here.
Yes. So another question from email from Zymon Sorbian. And his question boils down to basically using your truck on a boat ramp. He says he is considering purchasing a boat. He has a Toyota Tundra, or he's thinking about getting a new Toyota Tundra, and a boat that's not very heavy. And he said he's seen videos of people, sliding down the ramp in their truck and drowning the trucks, and it's a lot of fun to watch for others, but it's horrific and horrible for the person involved.
Have you done that with your Hummer too, your H2? Did you back down a ramp with that?
Yeah, I love that. Yes. And his question is, do you use 4 low? Do you use 4 high? How do you resolve these issues?
What did you do? What did you do, Andre?
So a couple of things. Here in Colorado, where we have lakes, but they fluctuate, their level fluctuates up and down because they're also reservoirs for storage of water. The ramps are usually fairly dry, and there's not too much grease or slime on these ramps because the water goes up and down. Sometimes it dries out, sometimes it comes back. So I haven't had a lot of trouble launching in 2-wheel drive. I used to have a Silverado heavy-duty truck. Sometimes I would launch the boat in 2-wheel drive, and that G80 would help me out. One of the few times G80 worked really well. Uh,
Yeah.
and but the Hummer has full-time four-wheel drive, so that's really useful, especially on this boat ramp. But I wouldn't worry about four low unless you're launching a boat that weighs 40,000 pounds, or I don't know if you're launching like a houseboat or something. I think four low is not really necessary in this case, but I think having four-wheel drive definitely, like on a new Tundra, definitely would work and would help.
Andre, you bring up a really valuable point about the surface. A lot of people don't take that into account. They take into account the water depth and the angle that you're going at. But a lot of people tend to forget that the actual surface of a ramp can be covered in moss and slime, and you can lose. I've seen it happen, and I don't do boating or anything like that at all. I just occasionally watch, pros like you, Andre. But I get a chance to see this, and every once in a while I'm looking at it going, that is some slick stuff. I mean, it's like snot. And I've seen people lose traction and sometimes back in even further into the water,
Mm.
especially in California, where I guess maybe there's a little bit more humidity in the air and maybe all of that type of stuff on the ramp. Eventually things build up. But it is something that you guys should keep in mind. So good tires matter.
Yeah, Andre, does your boat have a surge brake? Is that what it's using, or do you have electric brakes on?
So I used to have a surge brake, and I mean, you can explain this too, Mr. Truck. Surge brakes are kind of mechanical actuated
Right.
when the vehicle slows down, and then I actually converted the trailer to electric.
Okay, so you probably have to unplug it before you back into the water, right?
Yeah, you know what? Once a couple of years ago, I forgot to unplug it, but I did not cause a lot of trouble basically unplugging it from the truck, because you don't want your electric components
Yeah, blow some fuses.
actuating inside the water. So yeah, so
Well, did
that's
your surge brake, did it work good going backwards? Because that's not all of them are designed really well to go backwards braking. How did that
I
do?
only had trouble when I was backing up towards an uphill, but
Uh,
kind of on a flat surface, it used to work fairly okay.
yeah,
Especially on the boat ramp when you're going down, the surge brake is no longer an issue.
Yep.
But I changed it from surge to electric because of mountain driving, doing the I Gauntlet, I-70
yeah,
highway here in Colorado.
pretty
You can
popular.
overheat your surge brakes because when you're going down and the trailer is pushing you down,
Right.
and the brakes are actuated. And I had a couple of times where I could see smoke were starting to come out from the trailer axles. So
Yeah, that's good advice. Mountain driving has a whole new set of rules for how you use your brakes.
yeah. Um, Sorry guys, Nathan and Mr. Truck, you can help me maybe with the chat room questions as well,
Yeah, go
because
for it.
I don't see them. I don't see all of them right now.
Well, before you get to that, Andre, one thing some people who are watching us may not know what a surge brake actually does. So, perhaps provide a simple explanation. It's how it actually works from the tongue and everything else. And, maybe that would make a little bit more sense to some of them.
Sure. Basically, when you put the trailer on the hitch, right, the tongue of the trailer on the hitch, and the surge brake is basically built into the trailer tongue, and there's a little bit of piston. So when you brake, all the weight moves forward, right, and the piston squeezes on the hitch ball, and it actually is hydraulic, right, actuates the brakes using that little motion. So it's a pretty simple system. But if you're doing a lot of mountain driving and your brakes are on all the time because of that, it could be an issue.
Yeah, your
Really
brakes
good
are.
question on chat from Sean L. He's asking, and Andre, I know you recently went over this last time we did a chat about the Ford configurator and the lack of the 3-liter Power Stroke.
Yes. So as of this week, I think it's available. A couple months ago, remember Nathan, we were actually in the configurator, and the 3-liter was not. We couldn't find it,
Right.
especially to like build a new truck online, basically. And I reached out to Ford, and they said it was between that model year change, 19 to 20, and they didn't have um, certification on that engine yet. I guess they have to recertify sometimes year to year because some of the regulations change. So, but now it should be available.
Okay, so that answers Sean's question. Um, there's a lot of, it looks like there's a lot of talk about older Ford trucks. Speaking of it, do you want to talk about some of the updates that's going on with, what is it? It's our project truck, Gunsmoke?
Ooh, Gunsmoke. Yeah, yeah. So our progress has been slowed down by, kind of the shutdown and lockdowns. But I believe Case and Tommy are going to be doing another update video on our project. It's our project that was donated to us by David Morrow and his family, and we're gonna actually sell it and raise money for a charity for a children's home in Longmont, Colorado. So it's still happening. We're still working on it. Next step is tires. So we'll be working on tires, getting new tires on it, going off road, and finally, once we get back to normal, we can actually either, I'm not sure if it's going to be an auction or like just kind of a sale, and all the money from that will donate.
Very cool.
Mr. Chuck, what are the current projects you're working on?
Well, I keep getting trucks, but yeah, I took the Tacoma up last week up to Bunt School, and that was great. Made all the way up to the ironclads, and it was slippery, it was icy, it was snow, it was wonderful. And the Tacoma did really well. I mean, I was impressed with that. I do the Forerunner up there next week, and then this week I've got the Tundra. So that's kind of what I'm working on. And then, I did a special article on the Weigh Safe. Weigh Safe now, they're the guys that are famous for having the little gauge that measures your ton weight. Now they've got it with weight distributing hitch. And the cool part is you can actually dial it in with the wrench, how much ton weight you need or it should have after you look at their formula on your app. So that is really cool. That's one of the newest, coolest things I've seen in years for the towing side of things with trailers. But yeah, that's what I'm up to. And I got a Land Cruiser coming in 2 weeks. I'm not sure. I think I'll just go drive it to Africa or something. I haven't figured that one out yet. But
You're
yeah.
in Toyota land now, huh?
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
Toyota land.
Yep. Then I got a Honda, the cool Honda Ridgeline, that big, powerful Honda truck. I get that next month. But anyway, I'm always out driving in the middle of nowhere. So that's why, I go to the mountains to like an abandoned trail, or I go out to Nebraska or Kansas where it's just me and do all my driving, pulling some trailers and stuff. But, I've got my gloves on and my mask on and, all that
Nice.
fun
Well,
stuff. But yeah,
we're all
because I'm not in the middle of
safe.
nowhere, I'm still getting trucks. What's that?
Yeah, we're all staying safe, and hopefully everybody, you guys watching, also are staying safe and healthy. Next question on email here that came in is from Corey. He's considering a 3/4 ton truck. He says it's a buyer's question. He's already seen us review the 7.3 Ford engine, gas engine, and the 6.6 liter gas GM. He's asking, where's the new Hemi V8 with an 8-speed? And guys, we actually got, I think, 4 of these emails this week, all asking about the new Hemi towing. And unfortunately, the truck is still in Michigan and we can't get access to it. So as soon as we can get access to this particular truck, we can put it on the mountain and show you that. But it may be still 2, 3, 4 weeks before we can do it.
Yeah, guys, what happened was FCA has been working with us really well, and they set this truck aside. They put it there. They said, come and get it. It's ready for you. Boom, the crisis happens. And it was just really bad timing. They really want us to drive that truck. So it's not their fault, that we're not driving it right now. It's just bad timing.
Well, heck, guys, let's jump in a Land Cruiser when I get it. I'll take my bolt cutters. We'll go free that truck. We'll break it out of the prison they got it in, and we'll go drive it.
Yeah, Mr. Truck, if we go into a vehicle and drive cross country, those bolt cutters are going to be used on me by my wife.
Well, don't tell her where you're going.
Of course not.
Oh, no, Andre's house. I don't know.
With Mr. Truck and Andre driving cross country in the middle of a crisis. No.
Okay. Another question from email from Chad Johnson. Chad says, he kind of has a more generic question. He says, I have a Colorado towing question. I've seen your videos on the 1,500 half tons and also 2,500 3/4 ton trucks towing in the mountains with gas engines. And he says, which is your favorite? So Mr. Truck, if you look at the recent trucks we tested with gas engines, which one is your favorite truck for towing in Colorado?
Well, we don't want to give away the Ike Gauntlet, the Hitch Awards, do we? The Gold Hitch Awards, because that's
No, no, but thank you for bringing it up because we will be next week on Thursday. We will be announcing the 2020 Gold Hitch Awards.
Yay! Gold
yes,
Hitch. Woo!
yes. Well, I can tell you one thing: that 250 with that 7.3 is the fastest truck on the planet in that heavy duty class in a gas engine. That's just all I'm going to say.
So yeah, all of the awards will be announced next week, but we can still say that 7.3 is great. The 7.3, all the times we towed with it, the performance was really good, especially downhill performance. The 10-speed and the Ford and the new heavy duty. I think the 10-speed is calibrated just right for going down. I'm not sure if it's calibrated just right for going up or on a flat highway with a heavy load, because I've noticed it hunt for a couple of gears in some of our tests, but downhill it's a monster. It downshifts well. It holds your speed. I think it's really good.
Yeah,
Andre, I have a really good question on chat for both you guys. This comes from Mr. Joptit28. Do you have a basic fifth wheel gooseneck towing video for beginners? How to calculate weight and recommendations also for turning? I think that's a really good question. That would be a great idea for a video for you two guys to put together.
Well, we kind of do that when we're doing the Ike with the gooseneck. We talk about tongue weight and balancing the load and a bunch of that stuff. But yeah, it's good. I mean, I watched a video the other day where all the guy did is explain how to hook up the gooseneck, and he had 1 million views. And I'm thinking, what? I guess I should do a video on how to open a door or something. I don't know.
I think what his point is, this is somebody who I don't think has towed with a gooseneck before. So
well, sure,
your dynamics are different. Turning is very different. How you actually go and angle the turn.
Yeah, that's true.
That whole thing, loading it. So perhaps you two guys, and specifically you two guys, because I don't have a cool name like Mr. Tow or Mr. Truck. The two of you guys go out there and actually do this. Maybe once the crisis ends.
That's a good idea. We can get plenty of goosenecks. That would be fun. We can run over trail, a scale, and show the difference of it. Now, Way Safe is also coming out with a ball for those factory balls. You can replace it. It has a scale on it, so I can get a hold of one of those, and that's a good idea. Yeah, we can do that. I mean, yeah, we go out there and try several traders and talk all about how to hook it up, how to swing wider with the gooseneck. And how, that's a good idea. I mean, the whole concept makes sense. You can get more details in it, but we do talk about that stuff during the Ike when we're pulling the heavy duties. But yeah, that sounds like a good standalone video.
Yeah.
All right, Andre, I just added to your workload, bud.
No, I agree with that completely, Mr. Truck. Your microphone has a couple of static for me, couple of hiccups. I'm not sure why.
I can plug in another microphone if it makes you happy. Why do whatever makes you happy?
He sounds pretty good to me, though, on my end. I do hear some noise, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, I hear a little echo on everybody, so I don't know. I mean, I tested my microphones. The one I've got now is the best one of the two, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard. We'll find out, I guess, when this goes live, or it's live now. It goes on the site and see if there's a lot of comments on the way the sound is, because I can't tell. I mean, I have no idea.
So, Mr. Truck, do you have a Truck Nuts book handy? Do you keep it on your shelf at night?
It's in my closet.
Okay.
And I don't want to open that door. Actually, that door is my elevator back to the surface. So I'm really hesitant to open that door and show you my elevator.
Please don't show us your elevator. No, but Jamie Alvarez says he misses the Truck Nuts book promotion. The Truck Nuts book is still available on Amazon. So if you wanna check it out, also in the software version, so you can just download it. It's available.
We should do a narrated version of it.
We should buy a case of them at a time. Hand them out to your friends. I mean, Christmas is coming.
There's another question here. Oh, by the way, just to finish the fifth wheel gooseneck conversation really quick. I think it's a great idea, and I actually have a video coming up for basic bumper pull conventional hitches. So if we can do, Mr. Truck, when that comes out next week, maybe we can do something similar in a month from now about fifth wheels. The problem with fifth wheels, I don't have access to a fifth wheel like a camping trailer right now.
Right.
So we
Man,
can't quite do that.
I could probably get one, but yeah, the gooseneck ball, the concept's real similar. I mean, we can do a lot of details with a fifth wheel, but I'm sure we can find one.
Yeah. And here the user filler says the future is hydrogen. So we're talking about electric, gas, diesel, hydrogen electric. Yeah, I mean, but I think that's going to be like 10, 20, 30 years down the road.
Yeah, the infrastructure is just not there yet, man. It's expensive to make a hydrogen station work.
Yeah, I had to move to California.
Yeah, only hydrogen, basically hydrogen is just available in kind of southern and California, in the Bay Area in California, but not a lot other states. Here's a question from Craig Chapman. Craig says, I love your videos on the new GM trucks, heavy duties, especially with the new gas engine and a 6-speed transmission. He says he agrees with us that it may need a 10-speed. Because remember, I think some of us have mentioned that we wish the 10-speed was available in the gas engine in the GM. And then Craig says, do you know if it's coming?
I would bet money that it is, because when I talked to the engineers when they introduced the 6, they wanted to do the 6 to just keep a real dependable transmission involved, but they did a 10-speed on the Allison, so I didn't understand that. But yeah, I think they're planning on it, but they're going to do it in phases. Since they already had the big change in the engine, now I'm sure it's coming. I just don't know if it's going to be in 2 years or when it's going to be, but I would bet money that a 10-speed is coming.
I don't have any official information on this yet. I think there was another question about the future of the Colorado Canyon trucks. They're mostly unchanged for 21. They have some cosmetic changes, some trim changes, but not a big change coming up next year yet. So hopefully maybe 2022 is when we'll see some more changes.
Yeah, that's kind of sad though. The Canyon and the Titan are kind of fighting for last place. That's just sad.
Well, not too sad. I mean, yes, it's sad, but let's not dwell on that. Let's go to Robert Panic question. Basically, he says, if you can configure certain options, you can buy currently a 2020 Ford Tremor for about the same price as a Rebel with a V8. So his question is, Ford Tremor with a gas engine or Ram Rebel with a gas engine? Which one would you choose? And some of the use cases he has a 3,500-pound trailer with a tongue weight of around 500 pounds, cargo carrying capacity of around 700 pounds. That's kind of what he needs. And he also plans to go off-road sometimes with this truck.
Well, that cuts out the Ridgeline, but I mean, that's lightweight. He can get by about any truck out there. But, yeah, I mean, the Tremor's a 3/4 ton heavy duty or super duty, and then the Rebel's a 1/2 ton. So you don't need a 3/4 ton unless you're going to really pull something bigger. The Rebel's closer to that, but I mean, a lot of trucks, almost all the trucks will pull that payload in that trailer.
So, yeah, I would agree. The only thing is, if he needs more payload, maybe he's carrying something in the bed, like a camper, maybe Tremor would work for that. But if not, any truck would do.
Except the Ridgeline, the off-road thing doesn't work.
Man, you're Ridgeline this whole show, aren't you?
Ridgeline has a really great all-wheel drive system. Okay.
Yes, it does on grass.
It just doesn't have the clearance or the big mud terrain tires. And
big bulging fenders like all these photos show. But yeah, I'm just excited. I'm getting one next month, so I'm building up the excitement because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's what I call excitement right there.
Guys, please stay tuned for Mr. Truck and the Ridgeline. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 3-minute video.
Oh, at least. That's just the part where I stick somebody in the trunk.
That trunk in the back is really cool. I like the tailgate. And, you see, the thing is, Kent, you're not a city boy. I grew up a city boy, and that truck is ideal for city dwellers who really don't tow very much, who just want to throw their bikes in the back or some dirt in the back or something like that. And I think you're going to fall in love with it because of that, because you're going to be like, all this time I've been Mr. Truck, and now I'm Mr. Honda.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I had that truck 2 years ago, whenever the last model change was, before they came out with the new transmission. And I loved it. I did a really good review and I got 100,000 views. And I pointed all the stuff out like that. We put a four-wheeler back, pulled the trailer. Yeah, everybody makes fun of it. That's why I'm making fun of it right here. But no, I think there's a lot of places where that's a really good truck for a lot of people. I don't doubt that a bit. But no, it's just a fun
Exactly,
truck to
Mr.
mess
Hernandez.
with too.
Next question comes from Michael T. Michael T has this question, kind of directed at Roman, but Roman is not on this meeting, not on this show right now.
Go ahead, I'm right here.
Oh, is that Roman?
I got you. What's your question?
The question, Roman, is for a GMC 2500 all-terrain X from 2017 to 2019 model years that, Roman, you really liked driving home from Utah and off-roading in on the Cliffhanger 2.0 trail. I can see a lot of the good in this truck, but what are some of the negatives on this truck, Roman?
Really hard to comb my hair while I'm driving. Also, brushing teeth while driving, very, very difficult. I got to tell you, difficult stuff. Something you shouldn't try. Actually, I can tell you that Roman almost bought that vehicle, guys. Seriously, he loved it. I think the only reason he decided not to is because we just didn't need anything that beefy.
Well, the thing he reminded me of is that was a diesel and it had that depth tank almost hanging on the ground. So I don't know how you
That
call
was
it
really
off.
low. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say, so I like All-Terrain X, and now they kind of rebranded it as AT4, right?
Yeah.
So, and they moved the def tank on the next generation, right? The def tank is no longer hanging down on the passenger side. But what I think some of the negatives are on that truck, as capable, as efficient as it is it doesn't have any lift in the suspension. So it still has kind of a stock ride height compared to another GMC truck. And that can be fine if you're using it on a dirt road, but as soon as you start climbing rocks, right, and you're hitting your chin or you're hitting your sides, you need extra clearance, basically.
Were you there, Andre, when we were shooting Cliffhanger with that? Because Roman actually had to back it down and turn it around, and that was scary. That almost became a disaster.
I was there. I remember it started snowing, I think, right?
Yeah, things got really hairy, and it just doesn't have the ground clearance, and it's just not quite the right setup considering how heavy duty it is. But for towing and for regular driving, it's absolute dynamite.
Yeah, I think Roman really liked the look of it. It was a good looking truck.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's another question from Brett Swarder. And Brett is saying this: I'm narrowing down what I want to do with either hauling large camper and pulling a flat towing a Ford Transit 250 cargo van or a camper, and pulling a 16-foot cargo trailer with the trailer's total weight of maximum 3,500 pounds. Wait a minute. I can't quite understand. I think it's a van question, actually. So which, I guess here is, which kind of van is the best for not just kind of overlanding and going cross country, but also for towing approximately 3,500 pounds?
Well, wouldn't it be the Mercedes-Benz, their version of the 3500 that they have? Isn't that the best for towing? And it has a four-wheel drive system?
Yeah, you reviewed the Sprinter, didn't you, Nathan? And you liked that thing where it wouldn't let the wind blow you over and all those cool things they had for the off-road stuff. That sounded really impressive.
It's a very tall van, and it can tow well over 3,500 pounds, especially if you get the heavy-duty version of it. But I haven't towed with it recently. Last time I did was about 5 years ago, and it was a different model then. But that really would be the top. I guess Ford is the only other choice that has an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive system, right, Andre?
Yeah, so right now, the Sprinter, actually, I recently, just this week, also tested a four-wheel drive Mercedes. I was in the Mercedes Sprinter Summit van from Transwest, and it has a 5,000-pound capacity for that particular model with that four-wheel drive system, which is actually really reasonable. 5,000 pounds in a big van is reasonable because it's already such a big vehicle. I think as far as towing in a van, There's also a couple of versions from GM, right? The Express and the Savannah. Those vans can tow a lot because they're V8 powered, gas powered vans, but they don't have four-wheel drive.
Yeah, they did for a little while there. Those full
They
size.
did have this all-wheel drive
Yeah.
system, right?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
And then finally, like you said, Nathan, Ford, the Transit van just came out with an all-wheel drive system as well, or a four-wheel drive system. But we haven't had our hands on one yet, so it's hard to tell exactly what the capabilities are.
It's a funny thing about Ford. They haven't allowed us to touch any of their vans in the Rocky Mountains. Not the Transit Connect, not the big Transit. I don't know why.
No, and I think and actually right before this kind of lockdown with the virus, I was talking to Ford, and I said, we need a 2020 Transit van, and they agreed, and they said, yes, absolutely, we'll send you one really fast, really soon. Once again, it's in Detroit. It's in Michigan.
Well, that's something to look forward to then, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's jump in that Land Cruiser. The bolt cutters will free bolt those trucks. We'll get them both broke out, man.
Wife, don't you? God.
How long you been married, Nathan?
Too long. No, almost 20 years.
Well, yeah, see, but you don't have to stay married forever, do you? Let's go to Detroit. Let's break those trucks out, man.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to be broken is something on me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So Brad Sorter is actually in the chat room. Hey, Brad, thank you for joining. And Brad's question was also having to do maybe bringing a van with you. So, and his question is more about a Ram 5500, so a big boy truck, and actually having a van, I guess, piggyback and go along with you.
Oh, on the trailer?
Yeah. So
you just got to make sure you get the height figured out, because some of those vans are very, very tall, and you don't want to be hitting any bridges with that thing if you're putting it on a trailer.
So I would say, Brad, if you're thinking about like a Ram 5500, do you guys remember if they're available with four-wheel drive?
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah. And especially like some of the other trucks now, the F600 that's coming up soon.
Yes.
The big Super Duty also has four-wheel drive. So yeah, absolutely, you can get that, and you can bring a van with you, but the Mercedes van that we tested this week was already like 10 feet tall, like you said, Mr. Truck. So yeah, that's a problem.
And speaking of the F650 four-wheel drive, I talked to our friend at Ford Commercial, and she sent me one. I told her, then you want to have it right next, so we're gonna go play with one of those finally, the new F650, a 600 four-wheel drive.
Oh, I gotcha. That's really great.
Hey,
So
Andre,
yes,
why don't we
Brett,
a couple more questions and then we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah. Usually I would like to go like a full hour, and that's fine.
Oh, hey, ding ding. Do you have your chicken to swing around?
Doggone, I should have looked for that guy. I think it's out in my barn. I got to go out and find him. Doggone. See, I don't have any of that information on my screen. I don't know what's going on.
Hey guys, we have a donation from Alejandro Ordinez for $3.99, and he says, "How can I send a comment bigger than 50 characters?" Andre?
You can email us at ask@tfltruck.com. So you can email us right there, and we'll look at your question. Also today, we published a video on TFL Truck, basically putting a call out to you guys, and actually you can submit a video to us as well. So if you have a cool vehicle, cool truck, old truck, new truck, broken down truck that you want to show us with a cool story, you can check out our channel. And actually, we're asking for a video that's about 3 minutes or more, so approximately 3 minutes potentially. And we'll look through all of the submissions, and we'll pick the ones that kind of match our style, like as far as resolution and quality is concerned. And we'll start publishing those as well. So Alejandro, you can do that as well.
Yeah, Alejandro, let us know that you donated to Super Chat. We'll put you to the front of the line. We do get a lot of emails. There's a really good question here for Mr. Truck on Super Chat, by the way, guys. And it's directed to you, Mr. Truck. Do you see the maintenance costs savings between your EcoBoost and the Baby Power Stroke. Both have turbos and high pressure fuel systems, etc.
Well, yeah, that's true. Now you're going to have a little more cost in filters and probably oil on that diesel, but comparing it to the bigger diesel, that's even higher. So I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna my little gadget that goes off that tells you when it's time to change oil, that algorithm. I mean, it's gone 10,000 miles each time. And I thought, well, crap, I pull a trailer most of the time. It shouldn't be that hot many miles. So I'm gonna start changing.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Truck, we can't hear you.
I think he had a stroke. He's not moving.
Okay. Well, maybe we're losing connection.
I don't know. I mean,
Mr. Truck, are you there?
yeah, are my lips moving?
Yeah.
They weren't for a minute.
Oh, what I was saying, if you missed that, you guys are all moving now. For a while, nobody was moving on my screen, but yeah, the diesel, that half-ton diesel, the 3-liter will have cost a little bit more in maintenance, a little bit more in oil changes and oil filters, and then a fuel filter that gets changed more often, but nothing compared to a heavy duty. Those things dramatically cost more for your maintenance. But yeah, and like I was saying, what I was trying to say when I was talking to myself there, that my algorithm, a little thing that tells you to change oil, was only going off every 10,000 miles, and I pull trailer a lot, so I'm going to start changing at 5,000 miles on my own, dadgummit, because that algorithm, I don't trust it. But yeah, and I have to look up in the manual, but I don't remember the diesels being any higher mileage change than what the gas was. But yeah, you're just going to have a little bit more in filters and maybe a little different than, I can't remember if the oil capacities are different. They've got to be really similar. Oil capacities are dramatically higher, like I say, on the heavy duty diesels. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm probably not giving you enough answers to that, but I would say slightly more for the diesel for maintenance.
And so just I wanted to address a couple of things. So Brett Sorter, sorry I messed up your question. I didn't understand it. I'll email you later about that Ram 5500. Also, Tommy Gordon Jr., I see you've been commenting quite a lot. Thank you very much. You were saying also that Nissan has a four-wheel drive van. Nathan and I tested one briefly. We saw one, but it wasn't a factory van. That Nissan NV 4x4 was a mod, right, Nathan?
Yeah, there was a dealership, the Midwest dealership, I think it was.
I think it was in Utah, actually.
It was in Utah, that's it. And they specialize in taking NVs and putting in the 4x4 system. It was a decent van. We didn't get a chance to really beat it up. We did have an opportunity to play around with it a little bit and get an idea of what it's all about. And the bottom line is that the bottom of that Nissan is the previous generation's Titan platform. So whatever can work on a Titan can work on that vehicle, which is basically what we were told. Mm-hmm. Andre, we have another donation too, also from Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy Gordon, thank you for donating $2. The V trucks, actually, you're asking about. I noticed your question earlier as well. So I haven't heard any updates on the V trucks. Nathan, remember, it was basically a GM truck that Bob Lutz and the team were kind of a separate company. They were actually trying to convert it to this electric truck. But I haven't heard any updates on that recently.
Yeah, this is the previous generation General Motors platform that they were playing with. And I believe that the last time I saw it was at the Los Angeles Auto Show about 3 years ago. I think that's about right. And it wasn't even in the main pavilion. It was sort of tucked away in a corner. Ever since I saw that concept, it's sort of just languished. There has been no press releases that I've seen recently about that vehicle. And you would think with everything that's coming out about Rivian and Tesla and Atlas and all these other guys that you would see something. So I'm not too sure what's going on with those guys.
Yeah, and Tommy says that Nissan is now doing four-wheel drive vans from the factory. So thank you, Tommy. I'll go check it out because they're actually we're using Titan systems, Titan transfer case and Titan four-wheel drive, and then NV van is actually very similar. So I'm glad to see that they're trying to do more.
How come TFL doesn't do that conversion, make one go electric? Just do the whole thing yourselves. Just for a project, that would be cool. Take that old diesel you got that went out there rusting in your parking lot and throw some batteries at it. Make that one into an EV hybrid.
That's a really great idea, Mr. Truck. and you look somehow evil, more evil than normal.
Yeah, I do, don't I? I'm petting my Tonka truck. You know, they only made 2 of these.
Can you show that to the
Toby Keith has
camera?
one. Toby Keith has one of these.
Can you show that to the camera closer?
Okay. Yeah, it's got suicide doors dually. It's a 350. Saw one at the Denver Auto Show, got way back when, but a lot of the things on this became the new Super Duty. But yeah, it had hydrogen, it had a bunch of stuff on it to where when you braked, it pushed the hydraulic cylinder and loaded up, and then it actually launched you after you let go of the brake. They had a bunch of cool features on this. But yeah, I've got one of the few out there. Toby Keith's driving one of them. I want the other
Yeah,
one.
it'd be really healthy helpful if you were on an aircraft carrier, then you could just launch yourself without using the catapult.
Well, I don't know if it launched you that fast. I think it just kind of helped you get going. But yeah, I've never seen that system out. I mean, there are some things that save energy off of your brakes that do some of that on the bigger trucks. But yeah, this is my pet truck.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's a good note to end on, right? So, guys, we'll be doing more shows, more live shows, very similar to this, Mondays and Fridays. And from next week on, they'll be at 3 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Eastern. And the Monday show will be mostly focused a little bit more on cars. And of course, Friday shows will be more trucks. So what truck should I buy?
And
guys, thank you so much. You be careful out there.
And if you buy Andre and I's Truck Talks, I will send you a roll of toilet paper. Everyone who buys a book.
Okay. You heard it here first, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you on our channels.
Hasta la vista, baby.
See you guys.